There's a minute difference between. All right. Okay. So, good evening. The hour of 7 p.m. having arrived, I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Keene City Council. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel and Spectrum Channel 1302. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. If you would like to receive an electronic City Council packet to reference while viewing future broadcasts, please contact the City Clerk's office during business hours or go to the city's website and subscribe to the city meetings email list. The agenda is also accessible from any mobile device. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kate M. Bosley.
Here.
Laura E. Tobin.
Here.
Michael J. Remy.
Here.
Randy L. Filio.
Here.
Robert C. Williams.
Here.
Edward J. Haas.
Here.
Philip M. Jones.
Present.
Andrew M. Madison.
Here.
Chris E. Roberts.
Here.
Jacob R. Favalise.
Here.
Brian J. Lake.
Here.
Catherine I. Workman.
Here.
Bettina A. Chadbourne.
Here.
Thomas F. Powers. Mitchell H. Greenwald.
Here.
We're a council of 14. No close votes tonight, please. I'd like to recognize Councilor Haas to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you don't know it, tell me.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to ask Councilor Greenwald for a motion to approve the minutes of our August 21st, 2025 meeting.
Exactly. I move to approve the minutes of the August 21, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Any comments, corrections? Seeing none. And all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Announcements for this evening. A reminder that the City Council workshop on Tuesday, September 16th at 6 p.m. is arranged to discuss the New Hampshire Community Revitalization Tax Relief Incentive Program, RSA 79E, including residential property revitalization zones and housing opportunity zones. This workshop will be held here in council chambers. Also, a reminder that the filing period for declarations of candidacy for the upcoming municipal elections in November is currently underway and will continue through Tuesday of next week, September 9th, and must be in by 5 p.m. The city clerk will be accepting declarations for the offices of mayor, councilor at large, ward councilors, and those will be included on the municipal primary ballot on October 7th. And again, reminder that October 7th would be the primary and November 4th will be the general election. There were several public events that have occurred since our last council meeting. I want to thank folks that attended the First Responders Appreciation Event on August 23rd at Alumni Field. An outstanding job done by the event organizers, Jim Copa and Jimmy Tempesta. Was really well attended. Congratulations to Keene Police. But I think fire got them back in the next round, and it was just a good community event, and nice to see our first responders out there enjoying a day with their families. The Keene Music Festival last weekend was a success. I thought it was nicely attended. Had probably a half a dozen different venues. Pablo Fleischman and the Keene Music Fest board were the organizers for that, and as you see those folks, thank them for another Keene Festival repeat. Art in the Park occurred on Saturday and Sunday this last week at the Yashua River Park, organized by the Monadnock Area Artists Association. Again, very well attended and very successful. These events just add to the vibrancy of our community, and I appreciate these groups and their leadership for organizing them. We also had last week on Sunday evening, the Monadnock Overdose Awareness Day Candlelight Vigil. Thank you to the counselors, Tobin, Fablice, Williams, for attending that event. It's a very meaningful event for those who attend and tell the stories about their family members lost to overdoses, and it's good for all of us to recognize that the loss that people suffer in our community. I've got some announcements of dates that you might want to place in your calendar for the remainder of the month. The Colonial Theater season opening is this Saturday evening with the opening performance of Glenn David Andrews, a performer from New Orleans. So he brings this jazz sound into Keene. Ticket prices for this have been kept low at $25, and the reason I'm saying this infomercial is that the city has, through the city manager and myself, offered to help introduce the season to the community. We know the Colonial Theater is such an important part of our downtown vibrancy, and yeah, I'm pleased and honored that Keith Marks, the new director, wanted the city to be a partner in presenting their season opening. 9/11 is approaching quickly. It's another anniversary remembrance of the horrors that took place in 2001. There is a Growth by Giving music festival that's taking place over at the Best Western behind Tempestas on September 14th. All of those ticket sales and contributions are going back to charities in the community. On September 21st is the Keene Pride Festival in downtown. It's an opportunity for the community to show support for the Pride organization and those who identify with LGBTQIA2+ members in our community. September 17th through 23rd is Constitution Week. Daughters of the American Republic are very instrumental in this week. We will be issuing a city proclamation in honor of this recognition. The Keene Public Library has an exhibit up for Constitution Week, and Keene State College will be holding events through the week and have a tabling event at the Student Center. The International Festival is scheduled for Saturday, September 27th, immediately preceding the day of the Clarence DeMar Marathon on September 28th. So again, September is one of those months that becomes really busy and active in the community, so as much as the community and all of us can be out and about and supporting our festival sponsors, it's a great opportunity for us to be seen and support them. Okay, that takes care of our announcements for tonight. And I'd like to ask Mary Ann Whistle, the Director of Monadnock Developmental Services, to come forward as we recognize Direct Support Professionals Appreciation Week. Thanks for joining us tonight, Mary Ann. This proclamation on behalf of the City of Keene, whereas Direct Support Professionals empower people with disabilities by providing personal care, providing job support, teaching life skills, assisting with daily needs, and fostering independence. And whereas Direct Support Professionals Appreciation Week, celebrated annually during the second week of September, began as a way to formally recognize the vital contributions of these essential workers. And whereas the week of September 7th through 13th, 2025, marks now 23 years of celebrating Direct Support Professionals' contribution to improving the lives of those they support and the communities they enrich. And whereas Monadnock Developmental Services, along with 14 other provider agencies in the greater Keene area, such as Comfort Keepers, building a workforce of 200 direct support professionals serving a diverse population of 1,200 children and adults across 34 towns in southwestern New Hampshire. And whereas families provide vital daily support to their loved ones and rely on direct support professionals to offer essential respite, giving families time to rest and recharge while ensuring consistent quality care. And whereas the tireless commitment and dedication of these professionals allows individuals with disabilities to lead full and meaningful lives with over 200 clients employed in the region. Now therefore, I, as mayor of the city of Keene, do hereby proclaim September 7th through 13th, 2025 as Direct Support Professionals Appreciation Week, and urge all residents to recognize the valuable contributions of these dedicated care professionals. My pleasure to present this to you, Mary Ann.
So much. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I started out as a direct support professional, so this is near and dear to my heart. And looking around the room, I recognize several of you from working in this field. So I know all of you also recognize how important this field is. We really appreciate that you took the time to do the proclamation and to honor the direct support professionals. I wouldn't be here without them. Our community would not be the community it is without all of the direct support professionals. So I just want to thank you. And if any of you see a direct support professional, if you know one, or if you have a Facebook page and you want to just say, hey, thanks direct support professionals, even if you don't know them, somebody's going to see that and they're going to appreciate it. So thank you so much. I did see your agenda, so I'm going to keep it short. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you again.
Okay. I'd like to invite our county administrator, Chris Coates, forward for an update on county services. As Chris and Terry and Skip DiBernardo, Terry Hood, our city clerk, reminded me that this feels like her introduction to city council activities 20 years ago. Welcome back.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
There, now
It's a
start over.
recording.
Okay, I'll start over. Okay. Good evening. My name is Terry Clark. I'm the chairman of the Cheshire County Board of Commissioners. And I have with me tonight that I'd like to introduce my colleagues. Over to my left is Commissioner
Steve DiBernardo.
I haven't been here in 5 years, and I'm still doing the same old thing. Claudia Stewart, and someone who doesn't need any introductions to many of you here, Skip DiBernardo. And I'm also here with County Administrator Chris Coates and the Finance Director, who will be giving a detailed report about what's going on in Cheshire County right now. We've been going around the county to select boards, presenting, well, what does county government do? And you'd be surprised a lot of people don't understand. So we've been explaining that, and along with any of the other projects and programs that we have. I think, and I hope that after the report that you'll agree that the county has been a good partner in providing essential services to all of our constituents. So with that, as soon as the presentation's over, we welcome your questions and comments. Chris?
Okay. So as the commissioner said, we've been trying to figure out how to tell our story. We do it in a lot of ways. One of the ways that we do it is through our Zoom meetings. Everything's live. People can actually ask questions during that period of time. We also have a podcast we've been doing for about 2 years. It's called County Conversations. And then I'm also on the radio once a month. And we think that's great. But we also know that you need tools. And that county government at the same time is evolving. And so we put together this document that you have before you. And what it really tells is, it just tells who we are. It's pretty simple. We wanted to keep it pretty basic. Many people don't know that we have 20 departments in Cheshire County. And that you don't know the miles that covers Cheshire County. Many people don't know that actually Sullivan County wasn't Sullivan County. It was actually Cheshire County that went all the way up to Lebanon. And then at one point, they decided to add Sullivan County, and they gave them the boundaries that they did, and that just was another county that was added on to the 10 that are in New Hampshire. So I'm not gonna go point by point through this, but I will hit on a few of the departments. Maplewood Nursing Home, everybody should know about Maplewood Nursing Home, but you may not know that we have assisted living up there, and that we have 20 apartments up there that people can go into prior to going into the nursing home. And a lot of times what happens, one individual can go into the assisted living, the other one's in the nursing home. So they can visit each other every single day. That we feel is important, and it's a continuum of care that we'll talk about in a second down the road when we get to the handyman program. Department of Corrections, bail reform came in a few years ago. Now there's been some change to bail reform, and we know that there may be an uptick on some levels, but we don't believe it's going to be significant. We used to have about 149 individuals in our corrections facility. And now we probably, if you're just basing it on locals, we probably have about 60. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of programming in here is the reason for some of those. But at the same time, we also have federal inmates in there. And we average about 45. We've had a high of 50, and that's important to us because it's also a revenue source. We charge a daily rate, and it's mostly the inmates that are coming in are mostly from Vermont, and some from New Hampshire, but most of the New Hampshire goes to Stratford County and Merrimack County too, a little bit more. But we also have some from Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Maine at times too. So they can come in from all over. Most of them are from Vermont. With that being said, we do a lot of the transportation for that too. Cheshire County EMS, we're running 5 ambulances and a paramedic intercept. We have relationships with, contractual relationship on some level with about 19 communities in Cheshire County, but we serve every town in the county in the sense that interfacility transfers, we've had somebody from every community that we've taken from one hospital to another. And someday, if we would like to come back at some point and do a deeper dive into EMS for you all, because we've been doing that along with this presentation, but we'd be here about an hour and a half. That's just the reality of what it takes. And we have a packet that really gets into the weeds of what we're trying to do here. I wanted to also point out that we have a program called Connected Families. Connected Families was a $4 million grant that we received about 9 years ago. And it's about going in and doing a wraparound program for families, for children that are at high risk of out-of-district placement in schools. Okay, so you have a child that might be put in a residential treatment facility. We go in and work with the families. School does their part. We work with the schools in coordination. And what does that do? It keeps the child in the community. It strengthens the family so that they can handle that situation. It also does something that when you go to the school budget pit times, you know that special ed is always a cost that comes up. Well, guess what? Sending a child into residential treatment facility it runs anywhere between $200,000 to $500,000 per child. And if we can help with that too, that's significant. But we see it also as a continuum of care, because these kids are the same kids we're going to see in a drug court. These are and the studies show that they're the drug court, they're in behavioral health courts, they're in our sheriff's department that I'll get to in a second, who's doing truancy for SAU 29. So they're dealing with some of these kids on a regular basis. There's that continuum of care that we really think is important. And the state liked it so much, they gave us a daily rate for this program. There's no tax dollars that goes to this program. It's a daily rate that is paid through the state of Department of Health and Human Services. They liked it so much, they asked us to do it in Sullivan County. Then they asked us to do it in Grafton County, Coas County. Now we're across the state. A program that started with 2 individuals now is heading towards 40 employees, and it pays for itself, and it generates revenue that we can then put back towards tax dollars. And going back to the federal inmates real quickly, federal inmates, initially they generated about $1.4 million. It's now closer to about $2 million worth of revenue that comes in. What does that do? We put about $1 million back towards taxes, but we can take that another 400 of that, if it's 1.4 million, we can do one-time projects so that we don't put it towards the tax base. And these are the things that we have really strategized to really do, and I applaud the commissions and the delegation for allowing us to do some of these things that we've done. The sheriff's department they're in 4 communities now When I started, we weren't in any communities. They're doing law enforcement in four of our communities in Cheshire County. We're evolving. Whether we like it or not, we are evolving. You're going to hear that constantly from us. And we have to walk with what's happening to us. We may not want to be there, but we understand we have to do what's best for the communities that we serve. I'm trying to do my time the best so the mayor doesn't give me the dirty look. There's many more here that I could get into, and I'm going to let you guys work through it, and you can always reach out to me, and you can always ask me questions. But I'm going to just talk really quickly about restorative justice. We started that about 3-4 years ago, and it's grown into something that is just evolving incredibly so. It was used for the courts when a victim wants to really confront the individual. We walk with that person through that process. But guess what? Keene High School liked our program so much, they're working with us, and they have adapted our restorative programming for what they're doing out at Keene High School. Because if you remember after COVID, there was a period of time where things were really up in the air around behaviors out at Keene High School. And they asked us to come in, and Patrick Hanahan, who runs the program, has done a wonderful job out there. Other schools like Jaffrey and others are asking us to do the same thing. Businesses are asking us to come into their businesses and help with the dynamic of staffing, because they don't want to lose somebody because there's somebody that they want to walk through those moments and they want help with that. That's what we're trying to do there. And then grants, and then I'll go into the next topic. Grants, many don't know, we have about 41 grants and about $16 million worth of grants coming through our program. We're really the only county that has a grant program. There's others that are starting to go down that road, or maybe even evolved a little bit more than that, but we've been in place prior to me even getting here. There was a grants program. And one of the things that we did during COVID, we realized, is we started lending our individual out to communities because they needed help with the CARES money or the American Rescue Plan funding. It got overwhelming. So what we said is, let's develop a class. And there's some people here tonight that are in that class. And we've trained about 75 people now how to write a grant. Nonprofits, small business, communities throughout the region and outside the region have taken our class, and they sing praise for the work that's happening there. So we're very proud of that. But we knew we couldn't do it by ourselves. We just didn't have the manpower for that. So, and Suzanne Bansley, who's our grant director, has done a wonderful job. Down below, there's a few programs I just want to point out real quickly. Yes, the Community Power is something that we started with, the first county in the state of New Hampshire that changed legislation so counties could actually participate in the Community Power plan that had been put together by the Community Power Collaborative of New Hampshire? Coalition. So we were the first. Now there's, I think, 4 other counties, or 3, and maybe 1 pending, that are looking at being in the program. And what's great about this is you don't have to opt out of our program, you have to opt in. So if you want to come in, you just have to have your community say, yes, that's something that they want to do. And in Cheshire County, that means whether it's people that have done it on their own or joined us, it's probably close to 12 to 13, and it's really amazing that the communities have come together and supported what we're trying to do here. The Handyman program is another continuum of care. It's a program we started about 8 years ago. People at the Cheshire Medical Center are not able to be removed from the hospital because they can't go home. They can't go home because they can't get into their home. They can't get into the bathroom. They can't. We set aside monies that are not taxpayers' money, and we instead of building it internally, we partnered with ServiceLink, who goes in and makes an assessment of the situation. And they go in and they say, this is the scenario. They get it back to us. We send it over to Southwest Community Services, who has a weatherization team who is vetted and has insurance. They go in and do the project. It can be bars, it can be a restorative, putting a bathtub that opens up, it can be a ramp. We are now closing in at about 52 homes in Cheshire County that we've done over that period of time. We have only a certain amount of money every year, about $40,000, so it only goes so far. And we also worked with Southwest Community Services to give them $20,000 so that when they're doing the weatherization, if they have a life safety issue, if they don't have money to fix the life safety, they can't do the weatherization because that's just the federal government saying that that's what you have to do. So they use that $20,000 to correct the life safety issue so they can do the weatherization. So we try to balance it all up so people can have a better situation in their homes. The pie chart over here is just an example of that we have about 465 people on our staff, for staff members, and it's probably closer to 500 if we're fully staffed. Like everybody else, we're struggling to find staff. And it breaks it down on the percentage, and of course, the nursing home is the biggest. Recognitions here, we just want to point out that the National Association of Counties gave us an achievement award in 2024, 2 of them actually, one for the creation of the first county-run EMS program in New England, and then also recognized us for the handyman program to support the ability of low-income people to live in their homes after health crisis with accessibility home modification. And this year, they gave us another award, and that is for the restorative justice programming that we have. So we're trying to evolve, but at the same time, you'll see, if you turn the page, you'll see that we're trying to also be fiscally responsible. And because we know that the fiscal realities that we're facing in our communities. And I'm going to turn it over in just a second to Cheryl to talk about what that means. But increases in taxes to be raised by counties from 2019 to 2025, the Cheshire County's percentage increase during that time is less than 1% of taxes to be raised. That's 0.97%. And that, we're still growing. And at the end, I'll tell you why that is, and some of the program projects we've done that hasn't hit the tax base because we've looked at it in different ways. But I'm going to let Cheryl now talk about just the Keene tax breakdown and then the statutory requirements.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Cheryl Trombley, and we've done this specific for the city of Keene so that you can see the breakdown. This would have been last year's numbers because 2025 is not out. So the net valuation, when we all get our tax bills, I'm a citizen of Cheshire County as well, these are the tax rates that we see, the specific the town tax, local education, state education, and the county portion. What ends up happening further with the county taxes is we have a certain number of that we have to raise in order to balance the budget of operations that are not funded by either revenue sources or grants or whatnot. So we have to overall assess a county tax to all the different counties. The way that the Department of Revenue Administration handles this is they then take the percentage that each town in the city of Keene's property valuation represents of the overall grand total property valuation countywide.
If we could advance the slide,
Oh, yeah.
the public
Oh, is
could
that
see
me?
this.
Oh, yes, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Cheryl.
Geez, I
So-
thought we can,
Yeah, I thought, yeah, I like. So anyway, in order for the Department of Revenue Administration to do this fairly across all the towns, because every 5 years, as you may know or may not know, that every town has to do a full revaluation. I think the city does it a little bit different because you know.
This is our year, in fact.
Yeah, okay. Every 5 years, a reevaluation is done, so during those other 4 years, the property value on the net valuation is starting to either get high or low, depending on how the market is going. And at the moment, I think in 2024, the city of Keene's property valuation was at about 66% of the, in comparison to the 100% market value. So that's what the DRA then has to do in order to make sure that they're divvying up the county portion equally. It's a very complex process. I would never be able to explain it, that it's an equalization process that the DRA goes. So if you then compare the tax rates that, on an equalized value, because they do it for every section, you'll see that the town, the local, state, and county go down, because as you probably know, when valuations are under, then the tax rate is high, and when property values get either at par or even higher, then the tax per thousand gets lower. So that's just giving you a comparison of what you end up seeing on your tax bill in comparison to when it's been equalized to get it to market value. So that is
and
the
then
explanation there.
statutory?
And then going on to the statutory, with this next pie chart actually shows the different programs that Chris was mentioning on the front page, that many of what we do is statutorily required. There's an entire chapter in the New Hampshire statutes that dictate what the counties have to do, such as we have to run correctional facilities, we have to have a sheriff's department, we have to have a county attorney's office, we have to have a registry of deeds. We also have to pay for every resident living in a nursing home or receiving home and community-based care that needs Medicaid assistance. In the state of New Hampshire, county government is responsible for 100% of the non-federal share. So federal government pays 50% and the counties. Some states, it's all on the backs of the state, but in the state of New Hampshire, Cheshire County pays for that care. We also, all 10 counties run nursing homes. We don't have to run nursing homes, but we do. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. And it kind of started out as the Poor Farm, that was kind of a combination of a jail and people of the elderly. And so we've all continued on, and we have a fabulous nursing home that I think if, with any of these programs we run, we would love to have people come and see what we do. And so we just felt it was important because a lot of people don't know what county government does. And so to be able to explain, we are there for some of our most vulnerable people, and that's where the tax dollars go.
Yeah, and the last section here is projects completed without utilizing taxes. The Sheriff's Department, there's two things there. One is, if you knew where the dispatch office was back in the day, it was in a closet in the basement with sewage pipes running over it. We took the jurors' room in the old courthouse and turned it into what we believe is a state-of-the-art dispatch center. The cost was $750,000, and through grants, the taxpayers really only felt $75,000 of that. But the bigger project was, in our communities, there's towers throughout the region that have communication apparatuses in them that allows the individuals in the cars to be able to talk to each other. And ours was so old, it was, we were going on eBay to find parts, so if something crashed, we were at great risk of losing that area for a period of time. That was, we worked with Motorola. It was a $4.4 million project, and we were able, through grants and other means, we were able to cover that without putting it on the tax base. We did so well that Southwest District Fire Mutual Aid asked us to come in and help them with their project. That is a $4.8 million, and so far we've been able to raise $2.7 million of that project. If we don't, the user is going to get nailed for it. And that if we hadn't done anything, that could have been a 350% increase to the user, City of Keene in this situation, that would have, over a period of time, felt that pain. We also, the courthouse renovation, if you come in, you see that we've renovated the courthouse. That was $1.6 million. We also, the cupola, which we're very proud of because I think it really helps the look of the downtown area, and that was our goal. And so that was a $1.6 million. That was all through grants. Historical window renovation, 84 windows. We restored them, and we did that all through grants and fundraising in our community. And then last is the energy upgrades that we've done throughout, and we've been able to do that all through grants too. That's a lot of reasons why we've been able to keep the bottom line to that. I will tell you, the .97, is that something to be proud of? I don't know, because I don't know what tomorrow brings. We're really concerned about, what some of the things that we're facing. But, and I tell the commissioners and I tell the delegation that all the time. It's great that we're where we are. That's great but someday, will we, the reality set in? We all are having to bump up our salaries to be competitive. We're having to do all kinds of different things to create, get people to come to this corner of the state, what we call the forgotten state, and we're working hard to make our voices louder and make them heard over here. And we appreciate all the work that you two do up there to voice our situations here. And so that's pretty much our presentation that we did as quick as we possibly could. This usually takes about half an hour to 40 minutes, so we just crunched it down really quickly. So any questions?
Chris, you mentioned about your tax rate being low and hoping to stay there. One thing we're dealing with at the city level is the constant cutting of funding from state and federal. and also the constant downshifting, especially from the state. Are you feeling that same pinch too, and especially in this upcoming
I can.
fiscal year?
Yeah, and real quickly, I can show you 3 examples. One, we're feeling we're feeling like everybody else. We run a nursing home and a DOC, and we also run an EMS service. And we're seeing supplies at the EMS services go up. We're seeing the food costs go up, so the tariffs are having some level of effect that we're having to keep an eye on, or something is. Just like when you go to the grocery store here, that $100 that used to give you 20 items is now giving you 12 items. You know, that's just the reality we're facing. We're also, the triple B, we call it the triple B, the big beautiful bill. There's Medicaid in there where when somebody comes into the nursing home, Medicaid eligibility is a big thing that the state has to, but we take them in and we start paying that, and we're paying our employees and all that, but we're not getting any monies until they become Medicaid eligible. So they're pending, right? Well, it used to be that we could go back 90 days, and sometimes it takes more than that for the state to get that done. And they've cut it down to 30. To us, we're projecting that means 10 people on that case pending, and we're estimating at this time because it could be bigger, and I'll tell you why. 10, so that's about a $300,000 to $400,000 loss of revenue right there, right? And then you look at now the state we have to have eligibility done twice a year, not just once. That's going to back everybody up, and it's going to become even more problematic. So we're really concerned what that means to us there. And then last is the thing called state cap, and Cheryl can get into much greater detail on it. I will just make it real simple. The 10 counties pay a certain amount of money to a certain level, and then the state comes in and pays everything above that. And usually, in the budget, it's a two.
For nursing home
For
care.
for nursing home care. In the budget, they do usually a 2% increase. They bumped this year it up to 3%. That 3% is a $4.4 million increase that we're all having to shoulder, which is a $440,000 increase in lost revenue for us, because now we're going to have to pay that higher level. These are little things that are done, and I always say this when I'm in front of any of our state reps or any state rep anywhere. You may say that you don't, no new taxes, but you change how the formulas are, and you increase fees. And to me, that's what they've done here, and it's gonna cost us. So those are things that we're looking at, and those are just simple, really simple ones I can pick out of the air.
I might add, we're already feeling this on some levels. The Extension Service has lost funding for their family nutrition program director.
SNAP Ed.
Yes, so
Yeah.
we don't have a nutrition person on the county level anymore. Most of these cuts that they've been talking about won't take effect until after next year's election, coincidentally.
Yeah.
But we've gone to Washington and talked to our congressional and senatorial delegation, tried to give them stories that they could tell, and so that they could lessen the impact of some of the things that could be devastating, especially to the nursing home. If we were to lose the level of Medicaid that they're talking about. And the city is going to have to start thinking about the Medicare cuts. I'm not sure what your Health and Human Services budget is now, but I know that it's a lot more than $100,000 than it was when I was here.
Yeah.
And that is at risk as well.
Right, and Medicaid dual eligibility means that some people are just gonna fall off, and where do they go? And so the
Yes.
pressure's gonna be on, so,
Yes, the
Sorry.
city's human services
right. And
budget, and we've been observing that. It would be also interesting to observe the ambulance reimbursement rate changes for insured coverage, how that impacts not only your service, but
Everybody's.
our fire service.
Right.
That can take place later in the year without maybe a 90-minute presentation. Counselor Favlis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to the county's delegation and staff representatives for being here. I have a question around, you said that if you were fully staffed as a county, you'd be at about 500 employees. So I see 465 here, that was the number used in the presentation. Are there particular departments where it's more acute? For example, we're seeing in Keene a real challenge in recruiting police officers. Does the sheriff's office have that same challenge, or is it in a different area?
No, not as bad.
They
It's
have
really,
their
it's the nursing home. It is the nursing home, it's dietary, it's environmental, it's LNAs, it's LPNs, it's RN, it's across the board. And we're doing everything we possibly can, and actually, we'll be talking to people tomorrow about, we're working with a group called Visa Solutions, because we're looking at bringing nurses in from outside the country, Canada, actually. And there's some roadblocks that have been put up that in other states, they've taken those roadblocks out, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. But it's really, if you look at it, it's the nursing home, the DOC seems to be, they go through their flow, but they seem to be okay too. I don't know, am I wrong in thinking
No,
that?
you're absolutely right. And even though we say that we've got 465 employees, there's probably about 25 agency nurses that we have to pay to come in that are not counted in those numbers because they're not ours. And that budget.
Millions of dollars.
I mean, that budget just continues to go higher and higher and higher. And I believe, I know every medical, whether you're hospital or whatever, that's what we're surviving on is agency nurses because they're just not there. And so, you know, unless there's new ones that are, you know, coming out of school, you know, everybody's buying for them because once, you know, a nurse is established, they're really not moving. You know, they stay committed to it.
And we're a nursing home, and it's a passion.
Yeah.
You know, that a lot of people want to be in the ER, want to be in a doctor's office, and then there are people, we have a lot of long-term people that work at the nursing home, a lot of families that have gone, that continue to be there too, it helps us. But our census should be 150, and we're probably about 115
We had to actually close a floor because.
for a period of
our staffing
time. It's
issues.
opened back up, but yeah.
And it's not all about the money. Our waiting list is, I think yesterday was 168 residents of the county who are waiting for some sort of long-term care that we can't give them because we have the beds, but we don't have the nurses.
Yeah, and we have a certain standard that we have to meet, and we're not gonna sacrifice that.
Thank you.
Counselor Roberts?
Before I go and ask the question, 6 of my family members are still working at
Very much so.
We very much
Maplewood,
appreciate
and
that.
my mother-in-law's in there too, so it's
Yeah.
a family connection. You just hit on what I was going to ask you about. Genesis is going bankrupt and coming, and some of the other nursing homes or facilities around here are just barely hanging on. And if we can't get people to work in your facility, and we may have these other facilities closing down, we have a pretty bad crisis that we can't handle. Where do we put maybe 400 people that would be on Medicaid?
We're over the tipping point, which, it's not like we're going towards it, we're over the tipping point, but we are, you know, some of the things that we've done, we developed a relationship with River Valley and Keene State College, so that an LNA, you know, LNA could go from an LNA to an LPN to an RN if they chose to. We actually gave them, part of our American Rescue Plan funding was that we gave them a portion of money to develop that programming. Like I told you, you know, we're looking at Visa Solutions, which is actually in the long run cheaper. Up front, it's a little bit more money's put out, but in the long run, it's cheaper because when you're paying an LPN, and it's not that we're paying the individual that, we're paying the company that, then they break it down and pay them. But anywhere between, 65 and 75 for an LPN, and then for an RN, it's higher, an hour. And that's what we're having to do, and it's millions upon millions of dollars. Yeah, we understand that, and you know it probably better than none because you probably hear about it,
Yeah.
so.
Counselor Bosley? No, Counselor Roberts, you want
Just
to
a
follow up?
follow-up question. You just hit on the point that the prices you're paying the organization for certain people to fill those certain positions, does it have a negative effect on the people that you're paying when they can say, wait a minute, why don't I go work as that? Or you got the loyalty?
I don't believe so. I think we're very competitive pricing-wise, when it comes to across the board, we have 4 unions, okay? So we have one at the DOC, we have one at the nursing home, we have one at EMS, and we have one in the sheriff's department. So, you know, as you all know, that drives some of it too, but we also know we used to have a system in place. And then COVID hit, and then the great resignation hit, and then economic downturn, and now we're just competing with the market. You know, if Walmart is saying here, well, we've got to be here. We can't be here. We got to be here, because people can say, "Show me the money," and so we're having to rethink everything that we've all the disciplines that we had in the past. So that's why I always say to the delegation and the commissioners, I don't know what tomorrow brings. We're going to do everything in our power to do right, and we still have to be aggressive. You know, you have to be aggressive during these times, because if not, you turn into communities that are really struggling and can't get out of the hole. So at a time when you've got to balance that all out.
Thank you.
It's our longest 10 minutes presentation.
Hey, they
Counselor
asked the
Bosley.
questions.
Hey, we got another one.
So,
I'll keep this brief. I just want to, first of all, compliment the Maplewood facility. I work in home care, and we have a great relationship with Maplewood, and the reputation is wonderful in our community. And I think that is an example of the work that you guys do and the staff there does. I was just curious, I know we're talking about big dollars and what we're paying some of these outside agencies, and when you say you're working with Keene State and River Valley, are we able to fund some of that educational exposure for people who are potentially could sign a contract and come and work at Maplewood?
can you talk about working
Yeah,
and paying?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually have tried to groom our own employees. We have a program that's called, I don't know. In other words, we will pay somebody to go to school for up to, I think, 24 hours of their class time. And we've just recently had somebody go from their LPN to their RN class. That's specifically what we're targeting is people going on to get their RN. So we do try to get creative and to try to get people interested in getting their RNs or getting their nursing degrees, and
We also pay, right?
yes, and that we pay for it. And I mean, we give
If you have-
student loan reimbursements.
Right.
We've tried to be as creative as possible, and it helps us retain our employees. I will say that we saw a lot of employees leave when COVID hit. I mean, and I'm sure with you in home care, as you can attest to, was horrible for being in the nursing homes and whatnot. And so there was a lot of people that said, you know, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. And we have not been able to fill the loss of what we've been able to, what we lost at that time.
I mean, the goal is like you guys, you hold on, you do it enough to hold on to your own.
Yeah.
And then you start trying to figure out how to build on that.
Yeah.
I do see a recovery of this group of caregivers. There was a period of time there was caregiver burnout. We sadly lose our best caregivers to LNA and LPN programs, and we're so happy for them. But it would be great for us when we see someone who we know has some interest in furthering that kind of position in their life, if there was marketing material available to them or some sort of organized educational plan that somebody could approach the county and be like, this is something I'm interested in and I want to do better for myself and my family. And you could find yourself maybe not paying for a traveling nurse that way.
Yeah.
So it could be a win-win.
Yeah, I will say though, when we do pay for the nurses, we're looking for them to stay with us for at least a little bit of time. So, you know, but the dollars that we provided to Keene State College, that was specifically because we knew it was a problem everywhere, and we needed to help in all different settings
Yeah.
to grow the field of nursing.
There is a new rural healthcare program about to launch, but with a very short lifespan to it, but
Yeah.
something for us we can tune into. I want to thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner Stewart, Commissioner DiBernardo, Commissioner Clark, for your service. And thank you for the presentation, Chris and Cheryl, it's pretty clear, you've got sole source services that with the, and it's great to partner with you where we do have the shared responsibilities for county EMS services, but it's very important for us to understand what you do, and I look forward to hearing from other towns that maybe aren't as familiar, the success that you're having in serving them as well.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank
We don't want to
you.
take any more of your time.
Thank you. Okay, we've got two more hearings yet to go through tonight. And I'd like to ask the clerk to read the public hearing notice on the Grove Street deed. Questions?
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held before the Keene City Council pursuant to a petition from Donald Lucier, Public Works Director of the City of Keene, relating to Resolutions R 2025-26 and R 2025-27 for the alteration of the layout of Grove Street and a deed for land removed from the right-of-way, as well as an easement for public infrastructure. The petition seeks to reconfigure the intersection of Grove Street and Water Street to better align the community with Community Way and eliminate the left turn lane. In addition, the petition seeks to remove a strip of land acquired by the city in 2015 on the eastern parcel boundary from the right-of-way and return it to parcel number 585-057, with a portion of original 2015 property acquired retained to accommodate existing public infrastructure. Per order of the mayor and councilors of the city of Keene, this 17th day of July, 2025.
And with us tonight is our Public Works Director, Don Lucier. So Don, I'd like to turn this over to you for staff
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
presentation.
Don Lucier, Public Works Director. I will be exquisitely brief. So in 2014, the City Council acquired a strip of land along Grove Street. In the graphic here on your screen, you can see it's both the yellow and tan-colored highlighted areas. At the southern end, that strip of land was about 2.75 feet, 2 feet 9 inches wide. And then at the northern end, you can see it kind of flares out to be a radius along the inside corner. A total of 430 square feet were acquired from the parcel on that southwest corner of that intersection of Grove and Water Street. The purpose of the acquisition was to accommodate a roadway widening. At that time, Grove Street was widened to include a left turn lane and a right/through lane. That was done to facilitate a proposed development that was going to be part of the railroad land redevelopment. The proposed Coliseum Stadium project never happened, so the traffic that was going to generate hasn't materialized. A more recent traffic report that was produced by a consultant for the city has validated that left turn lane is not really needed, not justified for the traffic that we're seeing there today. At the same time, we do get a lot of complaints about the geometry of that roadway, or that intersection, where people crossing the intersection have to kind of do a little bit of a wacky maneuver because the opposing lanes aren't aligned properly. So the city ended up selling the lot. Let me step back. We purchased the 430 square feet back in 2014. At some point subsequent to that, we acquired the rest of the property. And it's today a vacant lot. Just about 6 or so months ago, the city sold that property to Habitat for Humanity. And they've expressed an interest in reacquiring a portion of that strip of land to allow for a more intensive, a little more higher density development, a residential development on that corner parcel. So we think that makes sense. The difference is the brown area that you're looking at is about 257 square feet. That's the area that we believe we can reasonably return to the property. It allows us to keep the utility pole in the right-of-way. It also allows us to keep the infrastructure that was actually constructed back in 2014, including public sidewalk, curbing, that sort of stuff, within the public right-of-way, so we wouldn't be giving that up. There is a fire hydrant in the corner of the property there that would be on the portion of the property to be transferred. We are recommending, as a condition of its, transaction, that we would retain a easement to allow us to go in the future and maintain, replace that hydrant. And the folks who currently own it are amenable to that easement as well. So we think this makes a lot of sense for both the city's purposes in realigning the roadway and creating a little more safe and easy to understand geometry in the roadway, but also for the adjacent property owner to be able to more intensively develop, hopefully have more bedrooms on that property when they rebuild it. So with that, I'd be happy to take your questions.
Councilors, any questions? Just for the public's awareness, public hearing is held on the site visit earlier today, and
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
just for the public's awareness, a site visit was scheduled earlier today with the council. We had good attendance, and some community members joined us for that. So this public hearing is on the heels of that public visit. So many of our questions have been answered, but I'd invite any councilors that have further questions at this point. Okay, seeing none. Don, you might want to stay if you wish for questions, but are there members of the public who would care to testify at this public hearing? Don't need to be shy, but we will. Allison? No, please come up and introduce yourself.
Allison Moynihan, I live on Grove Street, and I just want to say definitely want to get rid of that left turn lane. Anything that makes a four-way stop more confusing, makes it more dangerous. I walk there a lot, I drive there a lot, and people don't know what to do when there's that fifth car there. So please do get rid of the left turn lane. Thank you.
Thank you. Not exactly our mission tonight, but I think we've got the message. Thank you.
It's more important than the rest of it.
Any further testimony? Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing on R 2025-26 and invite that should there be any further comments from the public, they need to be received in the clerk's office by 1 p.m. on Tuesday, September 23rd, in advance of the MSFI meeting on the 24th. So with that public hearing having been closed, we have one further public hearing, that being a community development block grant, mid-grant update on current projects underway. I'd like to ask Jack Ahern to come forward. We'll be conducting two public hearings at this point, and I'd like to invite him to speak specifically now to the Roosevelt East Housing Project, and ask the clerk to read the notice.
Sure. So notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held on September 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at Keene City Hall, second floor, 3 Washington Street, to discuss and hear public comment on current projects sponsored by the City of Keene under the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program. The projects to be featured include Keene Housing's redevelopment of the former Roosevelt School building at 438 Washington Street in Keene into 30 units of affordable housing, and the replacement of the water distribution system at the Base Hill Cooperative Community at 180 Base Hill Road in Keene.
And I'd like to invite Jack Ahern, the Associate Planner at Southwest. Invite Jack Ahern, the Associate Planner at Southwest Regional Planning Commission, to make an initial presentation.
Thank you very much. As well, you took my first introduction there, sorry about that. It is a requirement of the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program to hold a public hearing while projects are underway to allow the public the opportunity to comment and ask questions about the project. Today, I'll be providing an update on the Roosevelt East Housing Project and accepting public comments and questions. A housing and public facilities grant of $750,000 in CDBG funds. Less administrative costs was sub-granted to Keene Housing and its affiliate Monadnock Affordable Housing Corporation in 2023 from the city of Keene to support the redevelopment of the former Roosevelt School property at 438 Washington Street. The existing school building will be renovated into 14 apartments, which will be attached to a newly constructed wing comprising of 16 apartments for a total of 30. This is the first phase of a two-phase development plan for the property. Phase 2 will include the new construction of an additional 30 apartments. The acquisition of the property was completed in March of 2024, contingent on the completion of an environmental assessment, which resulted in a finding of no significant impact after mitigation. The mitigation will require the modification of an existing retaining wall on a neighboring site, People's Linen, which is across the street, to achieve a higher elevation and meet HUD's acceptable separation distance from some above-ground propane storage tanks that they have on their property. This work will be completed before occupancy occurs. Construction activities began in September of 2024 and are estimated to be around 70% complete. The renovation portion of the project on the former school building is nearing completion. Windows have been installed, insulation is in place, and electrical and mechanical work is underway. The foundation is poured, underground piping is installed, and framing is nearly complete on the new construction wing. A timeline extension request was recently submitted to the New Hampshire Community Development Finance Authority to extend the project end date from December 31st of this year to June 30th of 2026 to accommodate for an expanded construction schedule. The original proposed construction period of 14 months did not accurately capture the full scope of construction activities. A new construction schedule of 20 months will conclude in April of 2026, and a total of $298,000 in CDBG funds have been drawn down for construction activities thus far. The project has not encountered any major setbacks, and I do have Carolyn Sweet of Keene Housing with me tonight if she'd like to say anything or is available to answer any questions that I cannot answer.
Can I share with folks about the renewable energy component?
We just wanted to add to the report that some exciting I'm sorry. I'm Carolyn Sweet. I'm the Special Advisor for Planning and Development at Keene Housing, which is also Monadnock Affordable Housing Corporation. And I'm responsible for renewable energy investments and grant management for affordable housing. And so we're on an active campaign to develop all of our HUD available units, hopefully by 2029, which after this project will leave us with about 200 units, which includes the 30 units in the second project on the site. And I just wanted to share with you there's a lot of renewable investment that's gone into this project. So all units in both of the renovated building and the new construction contain air source heat pumps within unit controls. There will be a solar array on both units, but we're talking about Roosevelt East. So the annual production of the system that's going into Roosevelt East is 66,500 kilowatt hours, and it'll have a savings per year of about $13,000. Over its life of 25 years, it's about $294,000. Other funding has been included in this project, and so this is an update to what was submitted. Keene Housing did receive with the City of Keene. The City of Keene received an Invest New Hampshire grant for the demolition portion of the project, which was $200,000. And we did receive congressionally designated spending. Actually, it's community project funding from Representative Custer for $1 million that's gone into this project, in addition to some Northern Borders funding. It's a Catalyst grant, which is $500,000, which will cover 50% of the site work.
Thank you. Let me just add, your presentation is complete.
Yes.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
Your presentation being complete, I'd like to ask if there are any questions from counselors. So, seeing none at this point, I'd then like to invite the public. Are there members of the public that would like to address themselves to the Roosevelt School, Roosevelt East improvements? I don't see anybody's hands flailing, so I think you've made it through this part. Going once, twice. We'll close the public hearing then on the Roosevelt School apartment redevelopment project. And we can now open up the hearing on the Base Hill Cooperative Water Infrastructure Improvement CDBG project. And for a second time, I'd like to introduce Jack Ahern. And please, Jack, inform us where we are midterm.
Thank you very much. The city was the recipient of a housing and public facilities grant of $500,000 in CDBG funds that was subgranted to the Base Hill Cooperative, a resident-owned manufactured housing community located at 180 Base Hill Road in Keene, New Hampshire, in 2024 to support the replacement of their water distribution system. The cooperative is supplied drinking water by the city of Keene, but owns and operates the distribution system within the property. The system was constructed in 1965 and consists of distribution mains and valves that had far surpassed their expected useful life. This had resulted in frequent leaks and failures due to the poor condition of the infrastructure. The project, upon completion, will provide Base Hill with the appropriate and sufficient facilities for continued operation and preserve their 53 units of affordable housing. Construction began in April 2025 and has reached substantial completion ahead of schedule. Pavement restoration and minor electrical work are remaining. All CDBG funds for construction activities have been drawn down to date. There were no reported major setbacks encountered during the construction period. The new water system is currently active and all testing has been completed, and the grant performance period will close December 31st of 2026. And Ron and Jen Bush from the cooperative are here tonight if either of you would like to come and say anything or answer any questions.
Thank you. If you'd come forward and introduce yourselves, somebody can stand, somebody can, but
Hi, I'm Jen Bush. I'm the acting president of Base Hill Co-op. And I really just wanted to thank the city for working with us to make this come together. We took many years to get the funding we needed to do this, and we still had to take out a substantial loan. However, it's at a reduced rate to finish the tidying up and the completion of things, and we just really appreciate you partnering with us.
Ron, would you like to introduce yourself, or make any additional
I'm Ron
comments?
Bush. I was president, and I was one that started this going. And then when my wife took over for us after my terms were up, and we worked really hard to get grants. And I know Chris was talking about grants, and we took our classes and we did our things, and we tried to do our best to do what we could to keep the community there up where we needed to be. And we've worked hard at it, and with you guys' help and with the help of the state, we're at a really good position now to where our water is up. We've got all our pipes in, the mains are open. We still have some cosmetic things to do, and then we still have the roads to pave. It was because of COVID, of course, you know, we originally came into this with the idea that we were given a $1 million grant and it was gonna cover it. Then COVID hit, then after COVID, it was $1.5 million. And so Jack and I got together, we figured out, and we got another, you know, $500,000. And then after that, we put it out to bid and it came back at $1.9 million. So that goes to show, I mean, you guys were talking earlier about expenses and everything going up and, you know, food and of all of the things. It's a really good example of what has happened within the community in just the last 5 years. And so we've had our struggles, there's no doubt, and we're gonna have to raise our rent more than we want to because we're gonna have to take that $400,000 loan. The city, the state fortunately gave us the opportunity to get it at a 0.3% 30-year loan, which, you know, they only did it for us because they know they got us into this mess and they wanted to help us get out. You know, so, but we've worked through it and we've been diligent about it. And I think when we're all done, we're definitely going to be putting a part of Keene community together better than it's been ever before. So that was our goal and that's what we've worked at really hard.
And it's 56 units.
53 units.
53.
I mean, good support for a large part of our community. So thank you for your work. Any questions that councilors have? Councilor Madison.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm really happy to hear you guys were able to complete this project. My question is about the other end. Your water distribution system was 50-something years old. How is the sewer system looking?
We actually had the sewer system replaced 10 years ago. The entire sewer system was done first. It was the most critical need. There were grants for that at that time, and it was pretty much fully grant funded. They did not have to take out an additional loan to complete it.
We did. We had to take out $300,000 loan to complete it.
It's good to hear that you're all.
But we're, you know, now we've got a sewer system that's barely 10 years old. We got a new water system. We got a new pump house. We actually paid for 400 feet of the city's pipes as well, so that we could bring it in and put it into the pump house. Plus, we had to do the paving in that area as well. So the grant not only helped us, but it also helped the city of Keene as well. It's been beneficial for you guys helping us and us helping you, you know, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No other questions from the council. Any other members of the public wishing to offer comments on the Base Hill Road Cooperative? Seeing none, thank you for your work on this project and keeping it on track.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
At this point, I'm going to close the public hearing on the Base Hill Cooperative Water Infrastructure Improvement Project. I would remind folks that if there are further comments, I guess we don't need to accept further comments on these. This is just the mid-grant update, and so we've completed their compliance on that. And we can now move forward to other items on our agenda, elections, nominations, appointments, and confirmations.
Yes, and we have confirmations coming out of the last meeting, and the confirmations we have are to the Historic District Commission, Russell Fleming to serve as an alternate for a term to expire December 31, 2027. We have Derek Blunt moving from an alternate to a regular member on the Partner City Committee for a term to expire December 31, 2027. To the Planning Board, we have Joseph Cosavera, who will be joining the committee as an alternate for a term to expire December 31, 2027. And to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, we have Zach Leroy moving from an alternate to regular member for a term to expire December 31, 2027, as well as Kathleen Malloy, who is joining the committee as an alternate with a term to expire December 31, 2027.
I'd like to ask Counselor Greenwald for a motion to confirm these nominations.
I move to confirm the nominations.
Second.
Second by Counselor Bosley. Any discussion on nominations? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Filio? Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Yes,
He is
thank you.
present.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelise?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously. That concludes that section of the agenda. We'll move on to communications.
And our first communication is from the Keene Kiwanis Club, and they are requesting their annual license for the tree lighting ceremony to be held on Central Square on November 28th, 2025.
And we'll refer that request to Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee.
And we have our second communication of the evening is from Counselor Remy, and this is a request to place the social districts question on our 2025 municipal general ballot, and this was prompted by the passage and recent signing into law of House Bill 467, enabling municipalities to create these districts.
And we'll direct that communication to Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee. Moving on to our committee reports.
Our first item is a Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee report relative to recreational access to the wastewater treatment plant. And on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends the staff report on recreational access to the treatment plant driveway in Swansea and the public communications received relating to those concerns be accepted as informational.
And we will file that report as informational, but I think there's also worthy of some comments. If the committee chair, Councilor Greenwald.
Thank you, Your Honor. Normally, informational just goes there, but as the mayor said, it does require a bit of conversation. There were a lot of comments from the public, and I want to commend city staff for listening to the comments from the public. And of course, the committee, having heard the comments, to keep the road, the driveway open. It's now up to the public to use the space appropriately. Walk on the side, take your photos on the side, stay away from the trucks. Also, to the truck drivers in and out of the wastewater treatment plant, to drive responsibly. It's not a raceway to get in and out of there. This is a very, very nice, natural area, and I hope that it can remain open. But make no mistake about it, if there's a problem, it will be closed. I want to commend the wastewater treatment director, Aaron Costa. A great presentation, a lot of reasons why that roadway was closed, but we're going to give it one more try. So hopefully the public will act appropriately.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further comments? Okay, the report is accepted as informational. We'll move on to the next item.
And we have another Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee report relative to downtown West Side parking garage study, assessment, findings, and recommendations. And on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends the downtown West Side parking garage study assessment, findings, recommendations, and report summary be accepted as informational.
And we will accept that as informational without objection. And would
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
Just leave it on.
We will accept that as informational, but the public and councilors, this is an informative summary provided in the minutes, and it's worth some read and attention. Okay, moving on.
We have a Municipal Services Facilities and Infrastructure Committee report relative to a request for extension to the deadline for the start of construction for Brookfield Lane. And on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services Facilities and Infrastructure Committee recommends the City Council grant WMR Development Company an extension to the construction deadline stipulated in condition number 5 of Resolution R 2023-29C to provide an additional 12-month period from the date of council action, subject to all other terms and conditions stipulated in the resolution.
I recognize Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Filio. Counselor?
Thank you. This development has been in the works, oh goodness, since the 90s, before the current owner even owned it. Situation being what it is, he has not been able to start construction, but the overall condition of the development is still appropriate. And the committee, in the interest of creating more housing and seeing this happen, recommends extending the deadline for the project to start.
Any questions on the motion before you? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to the next item.
And we're now at item D4, a Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee report relative to the Downtown Infrastructure Project. And on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends the approved scope of the Downtown Infrastructure Project be modified as follows. 1, eliminate work on Gilboa Ave and Church Street. 2, reuse existing LED fixtures to the maximum extent feasible. 3, bid the spare conduit and handholds as a bid alternate item. And 4, loosen the contractor work restrictions in order to allow construction in 2 seasons instead of 3.
Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Filio. Counselor
Thank
Greenwald
you.
for the committee.
I think Council Filio pointed out that this was the 71st meeting regarding this project. Last night, we had the 72nd. I want to urge the public, councilors, property owners, to please attend our meetings. Every MSFI meeting, we will be, from now until the project's done, we will be discussing the downtown renovation project. It's about to be bid, and Public Works Department reviewed all the quotes and all the biddings with Stantec and discovered that there are some changes that needed to be made. Costs have gone up, some things needed to be added, and in order to carry out the project, which had increased pretty substantially in cost, some big changes had to be made. So I'm not going to drag you through all of the changes. You could read the staff report, the minutes. It really is quite incredible, the amount of work that has gone in to make the project work. But the short and long of it is eliminating the work on Gilboa Ave and Church Street doesn't have to be done now. It could be done in the future. So that saved substantially. Reusing LED light fixtures. The conduit is an important item to continue, and hopefully that will continue. And changing the construction schedule from 3 years to 2 years will save considerable money. Yes, it will create more chaos and more difficulty during the construction, but what we're hearing from the downtown community, merchants and building owners, let's get it over with. Let's start the construction and end it quickly. Made an observation. It really is not a 2-year construction project. If work starts in April, it has to end in November. So essentially, it's 2 6-month periods of construction. It's going to be intense. It's going to take a lot of cooperation. And hopefully, we'll come up with some creative ideas to help the downtown community get through this project. If there are any specific questions regarding what we considered, why it's in, why it's out, I'd be open to hearing. When the motion was made, Council Favelis picked out a pretty important parliamentary issue. We were about to delete the shade structure in Railroad Square, saving that money, and also the trash compactors. But that would be changing the substance of the approval that was passed on to do the project within the same year. That's items previously considered. So you'll be hearing more about that deletion likely next year or when this hits Finance Committee for approval. So I'm open for any other questions, and hopefully you will approve the motion as made.
Counselor Favelis.
If I could, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Councilor Greenwald for the summary of that meeting. And I think actually the conversation at committee around the procedural piece took up just as much, if not more time, than the actual substantive discussion. I want to be really clear for members of the public that are here and are listening, and for fellow councilors, that the decision around keeping the two bid alternate items and not taking them out here is not a decision on the merits of constructing those two bid alternate items or including those in the final contract. This is a procedural question, and I expect that FOP and then the full council, when we get to actually, authorizing the city manager to move forward on a contract with us, will get into the substance of those issues.
And Counselor Bosley.
Couldn't we suspend our rule and just move forward today?
You could.
Counselor Remy.
Thank you. They were already put in as bid alternate items, so they're just gonna come back as menu items that we can choose to include or not include when it comes back. So they're already, it's not like they're in the base project, they're both in as bid alternates.
Counselor Greenwald.
Thank you. Left off one important point. The city manager pointed out doing some creative looking at other projects and fund balances. We're going to be able to pull this off within the number that we're looking at with no deferral to the property taxpayers for the shortage. Is that an accurate way to put it?
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit more. Don Lucier took a look at the CIP, and we have a couple of projects, one on Ashbrook Road and one on Court Street related to a culvert that we'll be able to push out. And in addition to that, we took a look at the difference that would need to be bonded for the increase in cost. And that principal and interest payment can be supported by what we have in the Downtown Infrastructure Capital Reserve account. So that avoids additional impact to the tax rate based on these cost increases.
Okay. Counselor
Yeah, I
Flake.
just have to make one comment. I've gone back and forth if I wanted to say anything about this, but I'm going to. One of the reasons that we're here tonight and have to make some of these changes, and part of the cost overrun of $4 to $5 million has been unforced errors at Stantec's feet. And part of the increased cost is here at the last second. Within the last 2 weeks, they decided we have to remove the unused pipes that are coming up because the ground may sink. They've sat on this project for 3 years, and they just found this out 2 weeks ago. So I have a problem with that. So that increased the cost. Also, they underestimated by about 50% some of the materials are going to have to be used underground, including conduits, electrical boxes, et cetera. Once again, they've been sitting on this project for 3 years, and they come back 2 weeks ago and say, whoops, we've made a mistake. So, this doesn't fall on the city manager's lap, the mayor's lap, or the public works director's lap. It falls in our lap. The buck stops here. But these were unforced errors that were not our fault, and it's not our taxpayers' fault. So the changes that we're making right here are trying to make up for errors that Stantec has made. It has nothing to do with the project being delayed a little bit. These were unforced errors coming out of Stantec that they should have caught years ago, not 2 weeks ago. I just want to make that clear. The project still has to be done. I know that. If it didn't, I'd be a lot more mad than I am now. The pipes we've seen across the city, they are failing. It's going to happen. The project has to be done. But I'm not pleased that 2 weeks ago we found these multi-million-dollar errors by Stantec, who we've paid very handsomely to this point. Thank you.
Certainly. Recognize the manager.
Thank you. So I recommend everyone watch the MSFI recording of that meeting, because the Public Works Director did a great job at explaining the various reasons for the increases in all the different categories. And some of them, the electrical conduit is one. That expense was a lot more than we originally anticipated. But there really is a variety of reasons, and if you want to know all those details, watching that meeting I think would be very helpful.
All right, we have a motion in front of us to make these adjustments. All those in favor? This motion carries. And all those against? With one vote against, so 13-1. Moving on to the Keno question.
Yes, we have a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to a request to place a Keno question on the 2025 municipal general election ballot. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends that the City Council place the question of whether to prohibit Keno on the November 4th ballot and schedule a public hearing for October 16th.
Okay, two-part motion. Counselor Remy,
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
second by Counselor Chadbourne. Counselor Remy for the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Favelis brought this one before us. It's a really good catch. The state reversed the language on Keno. The city has shot down twice in the past legalizing Keno in the city. The state flipped the language so that if you don't vote again to ban it, that it becomes automatically legal next year. So we want to put it back on the ballot, let the voters make a choice on it. And yeah, that's really the punchline of it, is let them make the choice again. Thank you.
Okay, the motion's in front of us. This is, an opt-out now as opposed to an opt-in, and a requirement that be done at the next municipal vote.
Just to clarify, yeah, that's, because we're a municipality, we have to vote at our municipal election, which means, in theory, we actually, the next time we could vote on this, if we don't vote on it right now, is in 2 years. And by then, it would have already passed and become legal. And any folks that had been authorized licenses in the gap between when it became legal and when we made another vote on it, their licenses would continue to be valid until they expired. So that's why we want to take an action now.
Thank you for the clarification. Okay, all those in favor? This motion carries. Any against? Making sure. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to, oh yes, we need to set the hearing for October 16th, and that will be held at 7 p.m. Moving on to several grant items,
Yes.
which we will take individually.
First of which is a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to a 2026 Keene PD Highway Safety Grant. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept and expend the grant from the New Hampshire Highway Safety Agency to fund Highway Safety Grant Keene.
Counselor Remy for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Chadbourne. Counselor Remy for the committee.
Thank you. This is an exciting one to get a grant. This is a recurring grant for us. We've gotten this many years in the past. It helps the police fund overtime for special patrols for things like speeding. It can be drunk driving, distracted driving, even pedestrians on the sidewalk, different things that they gave as examples for, or sorry, bicycles on the sidewalk where there should be pedestrians. Fun examples that came up yesterday in our MSFI meeting. But this can help fund those things. So it's a good one. Hope you all support it.
And lest you think, like I did, that this was an increase in the grant, this is a 2-year grant cycle.
That's the next one.
Sorry. Highway safety grant, never mind. All those in favor of carrying out the committee's recommendation on the grant? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, now Substance Abuse Enforcement Grant.
Yes, this is a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to the 2026-2027 Substance Abuse Enforcement Program Grant. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept and expend the New Hampshire Department of Safety 2026-2027 Substance Abuse Enforcement Program Grant in the amount of $70,000.
Counselor Remy for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second. Seconded by Counselor Lake. Counselor Remy for the committee.
Thank you. As the mayor let leak briefly, this is actually a 2-year grant, so that's where in the past we've gotten half of this amount. They are moving to a 2-year cycle. So while it is exciting to see a bigger number, it just means we're not going to get one next year. So hope you guys are all supportive of this grant. It's another that helps offset our expenses in the police force. This one for $35,000 a year. So thank you.
And for a very good purpose. Councilor Williams for a question?
Yeah, just to say, for the 5th year in a row, I'll be voting against this, because I feel that this is money that's designated for the war on drugs, which I am a conscientious objector. One of my concerns is that, it seems like there's always money for enforcement, and, we go with criminalization first before medicalization. There's money for enforcement comes down from the sky from the federal government, but when you want money to fund recovery, the only way we were able to get that was by having a lawsuit against the drug makers. And I have a problem with that. And even when we had the lawsuit against the drug makers, and there's this pool of state money that's supposed to be used for funding recovery, our state legislature made a very strong effort this year to take that money and move it over to fund enforcement. And I don't agree with that, or the whole concept of the broader drug war in general. That's a very long discussion. We can have it at a bar sometime, but for now I'll be voting no.
Further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's 13. Opposed? 1. Okay, moving on to the airport lease of parking spaces.
Yes, we have a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to lease of parking spaces for Thomas Transportation. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to negotiate and execute a lease agreement with Thomas Transportation for parking spaces at the Keene DeLaunt Hopkins Airport.
Councilor Remy for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Chadbourne. Councilor Remy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this one is to continue the lease that we have with the Thomas Transportation at Dillon Hopkins Airport. There would be changes to the lease and structure. We'd be looking for getting an escalator potentially in there as well, because right now there's not one. But we would be delegating the authority to execute the details of that, or to negotiate and execute the details of that to the city manager. They rent about 40 spots at the airport, so it's a good section of that space down there. But yeah, we would unanimously supported this and hope you do as well.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carries unanimously. Thank you. Last committee report.
And this is a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to the Monadnock Alliance for Sustainable Transportation grant application. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to apply for, accept, and expend a grant from the Monadnock Alliance for Sustainable Transportation for an amount not to exceed $130,000, and further that the mayor be authorized to write letters expressing the council's support for the proposed bike lanes and crosswalk safety improvements.
Councilor Remy for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Lake. Thank you. Councilor Remy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this one is another exciting one, applying for a grant. So as mentioned, this organization does want us to authorize, they want notes of support from the local governing body, so we'd be asking the mayor to write a letter indicating our support that we'd be giving tonight. It's for $130,000. We're actually applying for 2 grants in parallel with this. It's the competitive grant, and it gives them some flexibility on how it's funded if we're able to get it. One of the pieces would be for the flashing crosswalk signs on Main Street, and the other piece would be for any of the incremental costs associated with bike lanes over traditional sidewalk and what the incremental expense might be there. So applying for a grant to help offset some of those costs. Thanks.
Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, city manager's report.
Just a couple items tonight, real quick. Last night, there was an MSFI meeting. We had a special meeting because of the length of the previous agenda. The items acted upon will appear on the agenda for your next council meeting, and these include initiating the draft ordinance process to establish rules for the protected bike lanes in the downtown. And also just a follow-up regarding the letter Ms. Morton had written about the recommendations from the Walker Consultants Neighborhood Parking Report. I have a meeting that is scheduled for next week with representatives from Parking Services, Public Works, and Community Development to discuss the need for a more comprehensive parking plan for the city. Topics will include on-street parking issues, including the review of street widths, potential updates to the residential parking permit program regulations, and possible refinements to the parking requirements and zoning. These are all going to take a significant amount of time. We've implemented many of the other recommendations in the report already, and these are some of the bigger ones. And I will keep you and Ms. Morton updated on the progress.
Thank you, Manager. We have no more time reports tonight, and we'll move on to ordinances for the first reading.
And we have a memorandum from the Human Resources Director, and along with that, we have ordinance O 2025-31 relating to class allocation and salary schedules.
And we will refer that item to the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee's next meeting. Moving on to ordinances for the second reading.
And the first is coming out of Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee. We have an MSFI report, and on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends accepting Joe Shapiro's communication related to on-street parking issues as informational. And further, on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends the adoption of O 2025-27A. And we have ordinance O 2025-27A, an ordinance relating to no parking zones.
So I'd like to recognize Counselor Greenwald for the motion.
Thank you. Move the adoption of ordinance 2025-27A.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Filio. Counselor Greenwald for the committee.
Thank you. Joe Shapiro of Church Street sent in a letter, came to us indicating a problem with the parking and the drop-off for the Gathering Waters School on Lincoln Street. Worked with the Public Works Department and the city attorney, and has come up with the ordinance that's in front of you that will eliminate the parking in the area, specifically South Lincoln Street, Valley Street. What else is it? I lost one. Anyway, the A comes about because the request was changed from 8 a.m. to 7:30. So in the background notes, it lays out the whole situation, that it's a matter of respect for the neighborhood, and that wasn't really happening. It really does need personal responsibility in terms of the parents dropping off the kids to not degrade the neighborhood with cars on the lawn and whatnot as they're picking up the children. Also was indicated that it would be a good idea if the police did a little more upfront enforcement and communication of where to park and how to deal with this. So we are recommending the adoption of the ordinance.
Any questions on the ordinance before us on second reading? This will be a final vote, roll call. I do want to say that the first part of the motion to accept the communication as informational is we are accepting, and we're just voting specifically on O 2025-27A. Okay, no further questions? I think Counselor Jones.
Thank you. Can you just please explain to me the second to last one, Valley Street, east side from Kingsbury Street to Church Street, no parking between, oh, never mind, 8 was crossed out. It's 7:30 a.m. to 4. I didn't see the cross out.
Got it. Counselor Haas.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Just want to, in discussing this ordinance, this is a first step in this direction. We recognize that it may not be completely the solution to solving all the parking issues. We acknowledge the meeting that the city manager is going to have, but this is a good step in that direction to make some changes there to make it better for the residents. And we'll see how this plays out. There might be other changes needed in the future. And we do look forward to better and some immediate enforcement. When this passes, when signs go up, when people are noticed, that's the time to have some good enforcement to make things happen and drive change. Thank you.
Counselor Williams.
I'll vote to support this, but I'm just worried and concerned that we might have to revisit this again. I just foresee, well, people aren't going to be parking necessarily, but there'll be standing traffic, which there's already a massive problem with standing traffic there. I really think we need to figure out a way to get more legal parking spaces into that area.
Okay. No other questions? Just drop an observation that I think parents are becoming more concerned about the safety of kids nowadays. And there are a lot more drop-offs and pickups at area schools, and we do have more schools spreading out across the community. So I agree that we're likely to revisit questions about parking and traffic around schools that we haven't in the past. Counselor Faveles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just, in that vein, the first time that this was on the agenda, before it came back with the draft ordinance, there was some conversation at MSFI. I believe it was the Deputy City Manager, Andy Bohannon, that talked about the Safe Routes to Schools program and how it had been done for some schools and not for this school. I wonder if the City Manager could speak to whether that remains a conversation or an option, not necessarily to replace this kind of ordinance, but to complement it.
So I have not had any further conversation related to the Safe Routes to School. What I can say is that was an initiative for public schools, and so it would not have included the Gathering Water School. I believe when the project was initially done. It's something we need to look at in the future, though, because we have a lot more charter schools popping up and in neighborhoods growing, and the size of these schools has really created the issue that we're seeing related to parking and drop-off and pickup. So it's a conversation we need to have.
Counselor Bolson.
Not to belabor this entirely, but as a mom of kids that I pick up and drop off every day, this is becoming a greater issue. I see it every year. Every year there are more and more parents dropping off and picking up. And the public schools have it kind of down to a science. And I mean, it's not perfect. We were a Fuller family, and that Fuller neighborhood takes a hit for about 15 minutes in the afternoon. The drop-off is much more spread out, but pickup is tough. And I used to feel for all of the residents of that neighborhood when the cars were lined up to pick up those kids. But the teachers in that school have rearranged over time the process and have created 2 lanes of traffic, and each kid is tagged with a number, and every parent has a code in their car, and the teachers move the kids to the car, the parents never leave the car, and it moves people through, and they're in and out of there with the least amount of disturbance. These systems exist, other schools are doing them. I don't know who can collaborate and work with these schools in order to get this information out there, or to brainstorm, or to look at the environment that each of these schools are in, to try to create the best process. But the safest process is not having people running around on the street and getting kids in the correct cars with the correct families and moving people through. So I hope in the future we can work with the school, the school administration to come up with a system that works, that doesn't necessarily create a city problem.
Yeah. Some best practices. Counselor Williams.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on Councilor Favalis's point about safe routes to school and commend the city for what they've been doing with the sidewalks around there. There's a new sidewalk on South Lincoln Street, maybe it's North Lincoln Street, on Lincoln Street. And also on Beaver Street, you know, we have some of the new blacktop sidewalk, which isn't perfect, and it's, you know, eventually to be replaced by cement, but for now, it meets the need of being able to walk down there without tripping, or if you're a kid, maybe ride your skateboard to school. So thank you to the city for making that work.
Okay. We have a motion before us to adopt the resolution. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ordinance.
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 Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Counselor Bosley? Yes. Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filion?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yep.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll move on then to the resolutions, of which we've got several tonight.
We do, and the first three are coming in from our city engineer. He has requested that all three go to the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee. The first is Resolution R 2025-28, a resolution relating to the appropriation of funds for the local match for the Marlborough Street and Cheshire Rail Trail Improvements Project. The second is Resolution R 2025-29, a resolution relating to the appropriation of additional funds for FY '26 water infrastructure pavement repairs. And finally, we have Resolution R 2025-30, a resolution relating to the appropriation of FY '28 funds for the sewer main lining project.
And all three of these items are being referred to the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee. Move on to K4.
And K4 is a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report recommends that the city manager draft a resolution for bonding for the Keene Airport Solar Project. And accompanying the report, we have a further report from our Finance Director, along with Resolution R 2025-31 relating to the appropriation of funds for the airport solar project.
And I'd like to recognize Counselor Remy for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Chadbourne. Counselor Remy for the committee.
Thank you. So we wanted to move this one along with some expediency, so we went to the FOP meeting. That there was a thought that we would put this on more time and spend more time thinking about it, but when we were looking through it, the federal tax credits associated with solar are set to expire at the end of the year, and this potentially would give us a 30% tax credit as long as we spend the money, or the money set aside and the POs cut this year. And we have a small percentage of it actually acquired, so I think it was 5% that has to be actually acquired of the materials required to build it. It's a lot of money, so I recommend, this is a preview of, this is gonna go back to FOP, so come to FOP and listen in and pay attention to it, because it's a large check, and I always get nervous about bonding. It's $14 million. But the cool part about it is, at least from the conservative projections we've seen, in year 2, the savings associated with the electricity it puts off are actually higher than the cost of the loan. So we make money in year 2. So it's like taking out a loan for 4% and then getting 6% interest on your money. Do as much as you can, right? So we got to figure out the right way to do that. We want to make sure we're comfortable with all the numbers and how it works, but we wanted to keep this process moving forward because at the end of the year, the 30% tax credit goes away, which is substantial. It's a few $1 million that would be giving back, which was recently allowed so municipalities could actually take advantage of that tax credit, even though we're not really a traditional entity. So hope you guys support it.
Okay, good explanation. This will be going back to committee and then back to the council. So all those in favor of carrying out the intent of the committee? And the motion carries unanimously. Okay, on to K5. Yes, the resolution is being referred to the Finance Committee.
And I think we believe we're on our last item of the evening, and this is a memorandum from our senior planner, and it relates to endorsement of the City of Keene 2025 Comprehensive Master Plan. And we have accompanying that memo, Resolution R 2025-32, a resolution endorsing the 2025 Keene Comprehensive Master Plan.
And after almost 2 years of work, we will refer this to the Planning Licenses and Development Committee for their recommendation back to the council. Okay, at this point, I'd like to ask Councilor Greenwald for a motion to go into non-public session.
Move to go into non-public session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to RSA 91A3:A and land matters pursuant to RSA 91A3 2D.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Bosley. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
I'd like to make sure that Rebecca Landry, Med Kobcinski, Beth Fox remain for our discussions in non-public session. Need a break?